Hello everyone and welcome back to another modelled writing video. If you've been with us before, then you'll know how we structure these videos. If you are new here, then welcome and I hope you find today helpful. We are going to look at task 2 questions for the writing part of the IELTS exam. So these are the questions which you have 40 minutes to answer. You are expected to write a minimum of 250 words as well. So these are the longer essay style questions. Okay, so we'll be looking at those and we will go through the structure on how you can answer them. We'll do our plan and then we'll do the write up as if we were in the exam itself. So this is brilliant preparation if you've, say, booked your arts exam. Maybe you are a bit confused about task 2 and want some more information. Well, you've come to the right place here today. Okay, so let's get started then with our first task 2. And the topic is going to be about driving. So this can come up in the exam. This is definitely something to be familiar with. And we'll look at the question a bit more. Many people believe that the best way to improve road safety is to increase the minimum legal age for driving a car or motorbike. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Right, so the first thing that is jumping out to me is this sentence here. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So this shows me that, oh, okay, this is an opinion question and they want me to tell them how much do I agree or disagree. It's almost like a line. So for example, I can wholeheartedly agree. I'll do 2 agrees for both main body paragraphs. Agree there. I could also agree and I could disagree. So maybe each side. I can also wholeheartedly disagree. So I could completely go to the other side and say, no, I wholeheartedly, completely disagree with this statement. So I quite like these questions because they're a bit more flexible in how you answer them for that reason. So it is, yeah, these are quite, common type of question that can come up. So we'll go through that today. Okay, so what are we agreeing and disagreeing with? Let's have another look. The best way to improve road safety is to increase the minimum legal age for driving a car or or motorbike. So the statement is saying that this is the best way to raise the age in which you are allowed to drive these vehicles. Right, so let's head into our plan then. Once we've understood the question and we know what's being asked of us, then we can think about the plan. Now you might think, we don't have too much time. This is a big undertaking to write the task 2 type of essays. Yes, you're correct. And that is actually why a plan is so important. A plan helps us keep on track. A plan helps us stay focused, have a clear argument, and in this case, an opinion. And these are all things that you're being critiqued on. So we really want to show the examiner that, yes, we completely know what we're writing and arguing, and we've got a clear view throughout. All right then, so there is definitely an argument to increase the age. I'm thinking that, young people tend to be maybe perhaps more irresponsible. When you're new to something, you don't quite know your boundaries, so drivers might push things to the extreme and perhaps unfortunate consequences might happen. Yes, so I can definitely write a paragraph about that. So let's agree. Let's talk about the fact that they might be irresponsible, don't know boundaries. These are just your notes, so you can Don't have to worry about making full sentences here. Don't know your boundaries. You're very keen to impress as well, so that can lead to dangerous situations on the road, perhaps. Okay, but the question is arguing the best way. Now, let's think. This might not be the best way, so let's go into reasons why I might disagree. I think definitely encouraging maybe a government campaign to encourage public transport would be a more successful route. And perhaps heavier fines as well. So increase the punishments for dangerous situations. For example, I know that there is a driver's awareness course, but this is seen as almost like a bit of a joke, really. And instead of points, you can get on your license, you can do this course. And it's quite common to do, and then you don't get the points. But the lessons from the course aren't always sinking in because you're just doing it to not get points. So perhaps there should be points and a course that we have to do. So conclusion then, let's just restate what we've been talking about in the essay. And we want to say yes, increasing minimum age might help road safety, but not the only way. So we're just noting our conclusion points to stay on track with our opinion there. Okay, so we've got one paragraph for agree, one paragraph for disagree. We're keeping on track with our conclusion there, just to remind us what we're arguing. So I think we're ready for the write-up. Okay, so how do we start this essay then? Well, we have to do a really important skill in IELTS and paraphrase the first sentence. So this one here, which means put it into our own words. Okay, let's have a go at that. So many people believe. We could say it is argued, or some argue that an effective technique or strategy to decrease accidents on the road is to raise the age in which you can operate a vehicle. Okay, so we've paraphrased. Now let's go into what this essay will talk about, our opinion. So this essay will somewhat agree that this is definitely a technique that can be implemented. However, it is not the only route to however, other routes might be more, or maybe might have a more positive impact on let's read this back and see how this sounds. Some argue that an effective strategy to decrease accidents on the road is to raise the age in which you can operate a vehicle, in which maybe one can operate a vehicle. This essay will somewhat agree with this somewhat agreed that this is definitely a technique that can be implemented. However, other routes might have a more positive impact. Maybe maybe we don't want to repeat ourselves too much, but we can say words from the question here and there. That's okay. All right, so we've paraphrased and then we've stated what our opinion is going to be and how we're going to structure this essay. So now we can go into the essay itself. And we're going to start by agreeing to some extent. And we were talking about youngsters being perhaps immature, less experienced, perhaps irresponsible. Maybe we could say there is no denying that in many cases, younger individuals tend to be more immature and irresponsible when it comes to driving. So yes, the younger you are, the perhaps the more more dangerous things that can happen. When you are becoming, maybe we could say when a person has passed the test and is legally on the roads, they might not be completely confident. And someone with less life experience might be more easily maybe flustered and likely to panic, which could lead to accidents happening. Okay, so we're just explaining our point a little bit more. So we've got our topic sentence and then we go into explanation and examples. Okay, so we're talking about the irresponsible nature and perhaps immaturity. Let's dive into finding boundaries as well. Young people are consistently testing boundaries in every sense. And this is no different when it comes to driving. Constantly testing boundaries in every sense. And this is no different when it comes to driving. Therefore, incidents that impede on safety are more likely to happen when the younger the driver is. And so raising the age would contribute to making safer roads, maybe we can say that. Okay, let's read this back and see how it sounds. There is no denying. There is no denying, so we're editing as we're going along. there is no denying that in many cases, younger individuals tend to be more immature and irresponsible when it comes to driving. When a person has passed the test and is legally on the roads, they might not be completely confident, and someone with less life experience might be more easily flustered and likely to panic, which could lead to accidents happening. Let's make this a bit smaller. Oh, which could, let's do in turn, lead to accidents happening. Young people are constantly testing boundaries in every sense, and this is no different when it comes to driving. Therefore, incidents that impede safety are more likely to happen the younger the driver is, and so raising the age would contribute to making safer roads. Okay, so we've laid our agreement paragraph. So now let's dive into our disagreement paragraph. Okay. So let's just do a linking sentence. We could say, even though having a higher legal age would make some impact in this situation, it is not the most we've used effective before. Is not the best course of action. Okay, so we're just laying out our next arguments. It is not the best way, really. Government initiatives to invest money and promote public transport would make a much greater positive change to safety on the roads. If the public could conveniently and cheaply and conveniently travel across the country and abroad, this would lessen the amount of grave situations on the roads, on the streets, maybe, as to not repeat ourselves too much. Okay, so government initiatives to invest money and promote public transport would make a much greater to invest money into and promote public transport would make a much greater positive change to safety on the roads. If the public could conveniently travel across the country and abroad, this would lessen the amount of grave situations on the streets. Another way to tackle this issue could be implementing, and we're checking our spelling as we're going along, heftier fines. For example, let's dive into the fact that there is a driver's awareness course, but it's not taken too seriously. For example, there is a driver's awareness course that can be taken in the UK instead of points on the license. Instead of points on the license. However, if a fine, if the punishment was points, a considerable fine, considerable fine, and a course, then drivers would be much less likely to take any risks when behind the wheel. Let's tie this back to the question. It is clear other methods would have a larger impact. Okay, we'll read this back. Even though having a higher legal age would make some impact in this situation, it is not the best course of action. Government initiatives to invest money into and promote public transport would make a much greater positive change to safety. Maybe we could to safety. If the public could conveniently travel across the country and abroad, this would lessen the amount of grave situations on the streets. Maybe we could say grave situations connected to cars or motorbikes. Another way to tackle this issue could be implementing heftier fines. For example, there is a driver's awareness course that can be taken in the UK. Motorbikes. In the UK instead of points on the licence. However, if the punishment was points, a considerable fine, and a course, then drivers would be much less likely to take any risks when behind the wheel. It is clear other methods would have a larger impact than, let's just say, raising the age. And raising the age. Okay, so let's tie this all together then. In summary, increasing the age in which you are legally able to drive a vehicle would, to some extent, prevent some danger. Nevertheless, other strategies such as improving public transport would no doubt have a larger, would no doubt bring about bigger bring about more benefits. Or maybe we can link this back to safety. Would no doubt be a safer, lead to a safer environment for everyone in this situation. Driver, people in the car, the passengers, pedestrians, even cyclists. It just benefits everyone. Okay, I think that's a strong way to end. Let's just read the conclusion. In summary, increasing the age in which you are legally able to drive a vehicle would, to some extent, prevent some danger. Some prevent danger. Nevertheless, other strategies such as improving public transport would no doubt lead to a safer environment for everyone in this situation. Okay, so we're following this structure 4-paragraph situation here. And we've got one for agree, one for disagree. So we're okay to do that because it's to what extent question. So let's see how many words this comes to. Okay, so to my calculations. This is 341 words, so definitely over the 250 limit minimum there. But at the same time, there is no upper limit. So if you're a quick typer or writer, then you are welcome to write as much as you can, as long as I'd say it's not about how much you write. It's obviously the quality is the most important thing, and as long as it's over the word count. So for that reason, if you've got more well-developed points, then absolutely go for it. However, if you think, oh, this is this is a solid argument, if I add any more, then I'm just going to create maybe a less strong argument, then I would say veer on the side of caution there and stick to your clear arguments. But at least you can see here how we've structured it. So paraphrase, introduction, and then agree, disagree, and conclusion there as well. All right, well, coming up next is another to what extent question. So if that is something that you are struggling with, then this is definitely the video for you. We've got 2 examples today, and this next one is all about technology, which is definitely a popular topic to come up. Technology could come up in the form of we've had robots, AI, devices, gadgets, you name it. It's very broad, and so definitely something to be confident in, I would say, and have a few examples up your sleeve, and then you can definitely feel confident going into the exam there. You can apply these examples in different areas. Okay, so the question itself. Some people believe that technology is taking over jobs and that this will lead to a high unemployment rate in the future. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this view? So like I said, the same type of question. So what can we do? We can completely agree wholeheartedly. Agree in both paragraphs. We could agree and we can disagree like we just did in the last one. So that's definitely a possibility. Or we could wholeheartedly disagree. Disagree. Right, so what is the topic today then? The fact that technology is taking over jobs and this will lead to a high unemployment rate in the future. Okay, so we're thinking about future tense. We'll be using that. Good. Right, so this is something to think about in our plan then. How are we going to argue this? Well, things that are coming to my mind is that technology is already taking over jobs and already causing unemployment in some areas. So perhaps one paragraph could be agree. It's already causing unemployment. So it's hard to disagree with this statement completely. What else will this will lead to high unemployment? Well, with tech, there's no human error, so that makes it more efficient. Far greater intelligence in the future. And also, we can say that the fact that, well, this is not the first time that there's been a shift in the way that we work. So in the past, we went from, handmade to factories, and we created machines to make these products for us. That must have led to unemployment. We've seen it before. And then, of course, when the first computers in the 90s came about, that caused unemployment. So this is a pattern that, has been happening throughout our modern history. So it's not unfathomable, hard word to say. It is not, a crazy idea to see it happen again. So yes, because we've seen it before, it can definitely happen again. Okay, well, that on the flip side, then I can think of quite a few ways to disagree with this, because even though this has happened, yes, jobs will be lost. But like we've seen in the past, we can link this last point together. But more jobs will be created. You are more likely to be outcompeted by someone using AI and operating with AI and technology than the technology itself. So technology, for example, technology has limitless potential, especially at the moment. It's in a time when there's a great shift in what technology can do. It's almost limitless. So why would technology be after, say, an admin job when it's thinking of theories on complex things that we can't even we don't even understand ourselves? So AI is greater, technology, AI, we're using those synonymously here, greater than jobs. The sights of AI, it goes beyond, our jobs. And let's think, well, in that case, then high unemployment rates aren't likely. Employees will upskill in order to keep up with the technology. Yes, so it won't lead to high unemployment. It might lead to a shift in employment, but not unemployment specifically. Okay, so yes, jobs will be lost in our conclusion. But while different jobs will also be gained. That's what we're going to argue here. Okay then, so we're following the same structure as the last question, we're just thinking as it's the easiest route to go down, really. So agree for our first paragraph and disagree for our second, and then conclusion is just restating what we've talked about. Okay then, so just like before and just like in every task 2, we need to paraphrase this statement here. Some people believe that technology is taking over jobs. It can be argued that artificial intelligence is becoming more prominent in the work sector, and it is threatening current employment. Which will increase people out of work in the future. Maybe increase the amount of people out of work, in the future. Okay, let's read this back and just see how it sounds. It can be argued that artificial intelligence is becoming more prominent in the work sector and is threatening current employment, which will increase the amount of people out of work in the future. Okay, I think that's good. Let's now state what our view is. This essay will agree, or we can even say I agree that this is taking place. Even so, it is debatable that this will result in individuals, in the majority of individuals losing their jobs. This essay will examine both sides. There we go. I agree that this is taking place. Even so, it is debatable that this will result in the majority of individuals losing their jobs. This essay will examine both sides. Okay, so let's argue first that, of course, we can see it today that technology is taking over jobs. It's all around us. Technology is seeping into every aspect of work. It is already today, or in today's world, or nowadays, maybe nowadays, technology is already or has been displaying its uses in various fields of work. Okay, so we're agreeing, leading to areas which will more than likely become, we want to say, it's unnecessary for human input, if you like, leading to areas which will, in the future, no longer require human input. Okay, let's develop this a bit more. For example, the voice acting industry and writing world has been infiltrated with AI. We can actually say artificial intelligence, and then we could put brackets AI. Ultimately, in the form of the latest technology like chats. It's called GTB. Let me double check that. So we can talk about the latest. There's always going to be a new one. Chat GPT. And GPT capitals G, Chat GPT. Form of latest technology like Chat GPT. Ultimately, leaving humans or individuals leaving the workforce in these industries ultimately leaving the workforce in these industries unemployed. Maybe say at some point in the future, unemployed. Okay, so there is no denying that certain careers and areas will lead to high unemployment, leaving most of the workforce in these industries at some point in the future unemployed. Let's break this up a bit. At some point in the future, unemployed. Okay, then. The intelligence, we can talk about this getting greater by the day, of this technology is getting greater by the day. That means accuracy and scope is, or that means accuracy and lack, or maybe errors are becoming less frequent, which is definitely an advantage over human employees who make human errors, of course. Once we can talk about once the technology is created, the cost is probably less than hiring a workforce. Once the computers and other devices are up and running, this does not incur high costs as it would if you were to hire a team of people. Okay, so we're saying, okay, yes, technology is taking over jobs, and this will lead to high employment. Let's round this up to just link back to the question. So, in theory, humans are becoming less necessary in the world of work, which could lead to situations such as the majority of society being out of work. Let's read this back and see how it sounds before we move on. Nowadays, technology has been displaying its uses in various fields of work, leading to areas which will in the future no longer require human input. For example, the voice acting industry and writing world has been infiltrated with artificial intelligence in the form of the latest technology like ChatGPT, ultimately leaving most of the workforce in these industries at some point in the future unemployed. Or we could say, maybe we could say, leaving the fate of the people who work in these sectors or resulting in a maybe worrisome fate or unknown fate for the people who work, for the people in these sectors, resulting in unknown fear. Okay. The intelligence of this technology is getting greater by the day. That means errors are becoming less frequent, which is definitely an advantage over human employees. Once the computers and other devices are up and running, this does not incur high costs as it would if you were to hire a team of people. In theory, humans are becoming less necessary in the world of work, which could lead to situations such as the majority of society being out of work. Okay, so that's our agree paragraph. Now let's counter this with a disagree. And we're going to talk about yes, jobs will be lost, however, more will be created. It is hard to deny that jobs will be lost. It is a certainty, maybe. However, with the loss comes gain. Most definitely, work will be created through this new technology. We have seen this in history, we could say, in history, when factories replaced handmade goods. Handmade goods. And then when the first computers in the 90s started, and then when the first computers in the 90s began, or were introduced to the offices, many the work, we can talk about the shift. Work did not solely get lost, it just shifted, or it just was revolutionized. Maybe the same event will happen. You will not be outcompeted by AI, but someone working with AI, with this powerful device. Therefore, we could talk about upskilling. Therefore, employees will upskill, broaden their credentials, maybe, and we could talk about sort of feeling comfortable in this new world and adapt to this new world as they have always done. Okay, let's read this back. It is hard to deny that jobs will be lost. It is a certainty. However, with the loss comes gain. Most definitely, work will be created through this new technology. We've seen this in history when factories replaced handmade goods, and then when the first computers in the 90s were introduced to offices, work did not solely get lost, it was just revolutionized. It just was revolutionized. The same event will happen. You will not be outcompeted by AI, but someone working with this powerful device. Therefore, employees will upskill, broaden their credentials, and adapt to this new world as they have always done. Okay, I think that's good. Both sides of the coin. So, in conclusion, undeniably, unemployment is a concern and a problem to overcome. However, with the introduction of new technology will also provide opportunities in the world of work. With loss, or we could say this in a different way, other words, another way to say with loss comes gain. We could say we will sacrifice, but also benefit. Okay, something like that. All right, let's just read back that conclusion. In conclusion, undeniably, unemployment is a concern and a problem to overcome in the future. However, with the introduction of new technology, will also provide opportunities in the world of work. In other words, we will sacrifice but also benefit. Okay, let's see how much this comes to. How many words? All right, so that is a bit over the minimum at 347 words there. So 250 minimum. So yes, this is a little bit over, but you can see you could take out a few examples here if you wanted to fit that more into a smaller essay. But you can see the approach that we've gone for, the agree and disagree, and stating our opinion in the beginning and at the end as well. So there we go. Today we had 2 to what extent questions. So hopefully you are more confident with that type of question now. But if you have any questions, we love to hear from you. So you can always let us know. And hopefully that's been helpful today. Thank you for coming along, and we'll see you next time.